This is the point where we leave the M41, which is the main Pamir highway, and we descend south into the Wakhan Valley. This is a part of Tajikistan that is culturally, ethnically and linguistically distinct from the rest of the country and has a lot more in common with its brethren on the other side of the border in Afghanistan. Now we're going to be here for about 5 days and I can't wait to show you what we discover. We're approaching the Kargush Pass, which is about 4,300 meters above sea level. I look on my altimeter, we're already at 4,289 meters. Now I can feel the car struggling. I can feel my lips crackling as they do at this altitude. And once we get through the pass, the good news is that we're not going to be this high again for the remainder of our trip in Tajikistan. Now you may ask us, where are we going? Now earlier I told you that we were going to Langar. That's still the plan. I told you earlier that we hadn't got some money or $1 between us. That is still true. So technically, in fact, not even technically, it's the reality, we are beggars for this portion of the trip and we'll remain beggars until we can either find someone kind enough to give us a loan or we beg our way all the way to Horok. But first, I did want to show you the jewel of Bulunkool village. It's its little slice of paradise. It's its economic lifeline. We could not leave Bulunkool without checking it out. The landscape around Yashikul is a veritable desert. It's an amusing contradiction. It holds one of Tajikistan's largest lakes in its bare-bones crater. Looking at its still and silent waters, I named it Lake Placid and feared the imaginary monsters lurking just beneath the surface. With its plenitude of fish, the villagers have doubtless named it Sacred. It feeds the local community and is a vital source of income. The Kyrgyz named it Yashikul. It translates to Green Lake, but we found no emeralds on this sunny afternoon, only sapphires, and that was just fine with me. Yashikul reinforces the harshness of its surroundings, and I succumb to a dizzy spell. Connected to Yashikul's eastern tip by a skinny ribbon of water is the more homely Bulunkool Lake. In the fading light of the evening, its charms, for which it's famous, eluded me. The waters were shallow and coated in film. Perhaps the emperor was naked after all. But our primary focus remains Langar. We're at a rather interesting junction. There's a checkpoint coming up ahead, which means that anything that looks like a recording device, we've got to keep it out of sight. So we've stopped to make sure that all of that's done. This keeps happening, right? We keep getting slowed down by these herd of cattle and their herders. Now, one interesting thing to note is that the herders, even though we are on the Tajik-Afghan border, they are extremely Caucasian in look. Blonde hair, blue and green eyes. I mean, this really is a land of contradictions. The road pulls us south by west by south. In spite of the setting sun in our eyes, the scenery inspires. So too do the lands of Afghanistan, just over the river. But, as has been our luck for a week now, we have a new problem on our hands. Our situation is becoming increasingly perilous, and the reason I say that is because the only petrol we could get for the car back in Murgab was a very low quality petrol, which is causing the engine to knock. Now every time we slow down, the engine, it becomes more difficult to restart the engine, and we have to keep slowing down because we keep running into these herds of cattle. Now we've only got about 90 minutes of daylight left, and probably at least 90 minutes of driving left. The solution to this new problem of ours is simple. Just avoid any more cattle hold-ups for the remainder of the trip. Great! The universe conspires against us. Getting stranded out here within stone's throw of the Afghan border might sound adventurous. Facing the actual prospect is less inviting. Look ahead at how the road hugs the cliff face to the right with a sheer drop straight down to Afghanistan on the left. It would be madness to be caught out here in the dark. The sun sets. These are our final hours of daylight. Out here in the deep canyon of the Wakhan, the darkness comes quickly. The shadows lie thickly. Our car protests bitterly and we're really running out of options. If you want to find out how we survived this latest pickle, make sure you stick around for next week's episode as we continue our thrilling Tajikistan adventures. Now, I hope you enjoyed this hair-raising adventure. Remember, you can always be among the first to know by subscribing to my YouTube channel right now. Feel free to check out my other videos from Uzbekistan, Mauritania, the Sudan, and even from earlier on this current trip. You can follow my Facebook page and I engage on my active Instagram where you can follow me and make a more personal connection.